What's up, Jarod?
Come on. What's going on?
It's Friday.
Yeah, it is Friday, and I am familyless this weekend, so I gotta take it easy.
Familyless. That's an interesting choice of words.
You know, they're traveling for the round ball footy that we often talk about on this show, and I'm staying home, and I think my wife's probably nervous.
Probably. I think we got a weekend loaded of events here. At the time of this recording, we are here. We are on a Friday happy hour at Session Taco in Kirkwood. It's Margarita Week. That's what he said.
It's Margarita Week,
yeah, isn't that what he said? Yeah, it's like margarita season or something. So like everybody's doing that.
When is it not margarita season /week/day?
Well, for me being a Gen Xer with heartburn, every day is not a margarita day for me. I know, that's pathetic. But it is a beer day. What am I drinking, by the way? You brought it over.
You're drinking Cold Yellow Lager Pacifico. I know you'll like that one.
Pacifico, I like it.
I think that as we're talking about Session and he's filling us in on margaritas, shout out to our friends. I mean, because we're at the one in Kirkwood, and there is really not a soccer field that you go to or park that you don't pass by this place on the way home.
Yeah.
They have a banging arcade for the kiddos. You can put those kiddos in that arcade, and you can come in here and have a margarita or a taco or a Pacifico or a Sprite. And
so as a neighboring Webster resident, I can tell you definitively, the arcade is the greatest babysitter ever invented for dinner out. So head out here. Actually, a couple of the locations have arcades. Anyway, well, if we'll get Adam on here at some point, and he'll tell us exactly where. So, Soccer Dad Pod, we're back. We've been rolling. We've got a whole row of lined up guests coming up. Today, we're going to be talking more of our favorite, that being college soccer. Actually, all the subject matters are kind of my favorite or favorite or whatever. But college soccer seems to resonate with a lot of listeners, so we're gonna dig into it today, just a little ways up the Mississippi River to the east side, with our friends from the Quincy land. So we're gonna be talking here in just a little bit.
Yeah, you know what's good about this one too? I think we have the soccer mom one, we have ours, and we talk to men and women, and we kind of differentiate between episodes. Today, you're going to get both women's and men's. It's kind of a 2-for-1.
Yep. That'll be up in just a little bit. So, a little bit of housekeeping. Number one, thank you all for listening. You've been so supportive. We really are just appreciative of all the support. If you wouldn't mind, drop a review. So apparently all the algorithms have changed. Likes are nice. Subscribes are good. They're actually really good. But reviews, those are like the golden goose. So do me a favor. Drop a review. Be creative. We're going to start tossing some tickets out here. I got city tickets. We've got some swag. Get creative on the review side, and we will be hooking you up. We will find it. We'll reach out. And we'll reward you. We're bribing. That's what we're doing. We're bribing live on air. So there's that. The last episode was me solo. The gentleman's name is Buford Mobley. I got to be honest, man. He's just one of those dudes that you just want to have a beer with.
Really?
You want to eat a pork steak, and you want to sit in a lawn chair, not a fancy lawn chair, no hydraulics, none of that shit, just the vinyl crisscross so that it scars up your legs. You want to sit in one of those chairs, drink a Busch beer, eat a pork steak, and talk to Buford Mobley from the Soccer Parent Lifestyle on Facebook. Huge. I know you're not on Facebook a lot, but that group, he's got 40,000 followers. And what we talked about in the last episode...
That's a lot of followers on Facebook.
A lot. And what we talked about was kind of where parents are coming from And it was the usual suspects topics, right? Pay to play, it's too expensive, my kid's not getting enough playing time, all that stuff. But he had such a refreshing approach because the dude didn't play soccer. He went to Clemson, but he was more basketball, football, baseball guy, right? And he only got into soccer because his kid got into it, and in 2018 started these groups, and they've blown up. They're probably the largest in the country for like just organic soccer parent groups. Just a really cool conversation, and checking out his site, checking out the info. Look, if you're a newbie, or even if you're an oldie as a soccer parent, you should be on there. If for nothing else, read it, laugh at some of the anonymous members wondering why their little Johnny's not getting minutes. You can be that guy, or there's actually resources on there. It was just a fun conversation. So
nice.
Go back, check it out. And now that we are on all over YouTube too, you can go check it out there. Now our pretty faces aren't on YouTube, but our voices are. So there's that. A lot of news, a lot of things going on in the world of sport, the world of soccer. Brings us to, and we got to get a better name for this. I technically, Adam, if you're listening, session point of the day, it just doesn't roll off the tongue. So we're going to work on that. But in the meantime, we're going to get to the session point of the day. You're first. What you got?
Yeah, long-winded. Let me give you the spiel, and then I want you to just give me your remarks. Session taco point one of the day is yesterday's news. JB already said that we're on a Friday. The home opener is tomorrow. This show will be released after the home opener. It was released yesterday that the St. Louis City Group is trading Indiana Vassilev to Philadelphia. Social media then ensued in a major shitstorm. People reacted 100 different ways, and I thought it was interesting because it was an interesting follow. I was on it all day, and Taylor Twellman, make no mistake, he's a St. Louis guy. He was just here at the factory for the event, rubbing elbows with all of our group. So he is in the know. Make no mistake, he's in the know. His dad's in part of the program. He basically drops the news after everybody begins to lose their minds that Indiana is a fan favorite. He's going out the door. What are we going to do? Why would they do this? I'm not a fan of this move. He drops that Indy does not – he wants the move. So basically congratulate St. Louis because it's just good business because he doesn't want to be here. So my thoughts are, folks, whatever you think, we are an MLS team. I am a huge fan of them. JB's a huge fan of them. We are a European team. We have a European sporting director. We have a European coach. We have 29 people on our team. Folks, we will have 3 Americans that will get substantial time. We will have 10% of our field, 10, 12, 15% of Americans. So until there's any kind of turnover, until we win it, lose it, whatever we are, you can't get upset at the noise that we're getting rid of one of our fan favorites that's an American. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think, new coach, new spine. Yes, Indy was a, quote, fan favorite. He's a little workhorse. Had the stash. Recently got some caps in what would be considered Camp 2, right, at the national team level. But there's a whole bunch of people that are sitting in offices over there at City that know a hell of a lot more than any of us, that are looking at the Moneyball side of this thing and are fully aware of what's going on in locker rooms and on the bench. And at the end of the day, the goal is to win games. And so when they do the math and they do the equation as to, is this a +1 or a neutral or a -1 when it comes to a player? There's a lot of things that go into consideration. Look, they got $1 million in GAM or whatever it is. Basically, it's monopoly money, but it allows them to spend more money on other players, right? It was a net positive trade, and let's not forget, Carnell loved him. Like, he was a huge fan of Indy's.
And he's not going to play. He's not starting here.
Right, exactly. And where's Carnell?
Philly.
And where did Indy go?
You know it.
Philly.
So, I just, do I want 8 Americans in our starting 11? Of course. But that's not what we are. So either get on the bus or get off the bus and badmouth them or don't. It makes no difference to me. We are a European MLS team.
Yeah, I don't necessarily view it through the Euro/American lens as much.
Okay.
I view it as you take Indy, put him on the pedestal, evaluate him pound for pound for what he is, and you look at the position that he plays and who he's going to be competing against. There's a lot of freaking good talent that's
Our midfield's deep. What Americans play this year? I mean, let's just Kessler plays, Betcher plays, Durkin plays, and then minus our homegrowns and whoever. I mean, what other Americans get time?
I don't know. I don't know where. I know that our Swiss boy in net. I know Klaus they say he's from Brazil. You know,
Two-Shirt, Leuven, Hartel. These guys are playing.
Yeah, for me, win games.
Yes.
If you do it, hell, I don't care. Go to Cambodia, sign them all. I know there's rules within the league that obviously there's limitations on your rosters, but I don't care. I think as it pertains again to Indy in particular, best of luck to him. You know, he was good for City for what he's done, but if you think back to the conversation we had with Coach Kalish, right? Mm-hmm. We specifically talked about what is the difference between year 3 City and year 2 City. We got a new coach. We know that. The only other major difference that you can really point to and say definitively that is true is that pound for pound at every position from 1 through 20, 22, we're better. We have a better lineup overall than we did last year and over year 1. So even if it's small, even if it's marginal, it's undeniable that you look on paper, you look at the pedigree, we have a better team.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. American, European aside, it doesn't matter what your opinion is. What you said is the brass tacks.
Yeah, so you know what? At the end of the day, here's what's going to happen. Wait till July 1st. Let's see what our record is and who's been on the field. And then all of this speculation goes away. So it's either going to be validated or, shit, we need to make moves. But they got $1 million in GAM from a guy that I think, what was it, 250? I think his costs, they made 3 or 4x on him. So it's good business.
Yeah, touche.
Session point, my point is I've been watching this indoor golf lately. The digital, what is it?
TGL, the Golf League.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
So I'm not paying attention. I'm not listening. It's one of those things. I see it. It's kind of on in the background. And I was watching the other day. It was Tiger, right? Tiger. Was it his son playing with him? Maybe.
He might have been on one of like the promos or at the arena, but like actually in the competition, he is not playing in that indoor golf league, to my knowledge.
So to be clear, though, the TGL, is that what it's called?
Yep.
It's simulators, right?
Yeah, it's a simulators. It's in a warehouse that's based on a campus in Palm Beach, I think, and it's 6 or 7 cities and major owners like Arthur Blank. Paul Allen. So they own teams that are geographically based, and yeah, it's simulators. And the catch is they hit into simulators off true surfaces, sand, rough, or fairway, and then they play. If they're within 50 yards to the hole and in, then they play real golf into a green that rotates 360. It's pretty interesting.
So here's my take. Here's my point. Can you imagine Roger Federer entering a pickleball league? You see where I'm going with this?
League, he's in trouble.
You see where I'm going with this? So, I'm embarrassed for Tiger. That's where I'm going. That's my point. You are the greatest golfer of all time. Period. Hands down. Over Nicklaus. I don't care. Jack Nicklaus played at a time in which it was much, much different.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods is the greatest golfer of all time as a competitor and a closer, right? What are you doing playing virtual golf? Why don't you just go to the local bar and play Golden Tee?
Well, I don't think he's just playing virtual golf. I think he's using this as a business model, and he's tapping into the same reason that our kids don't like baseball and MLB, because it's boring.
Because they all want to go to the Savannah Bananas, though.
Yeah, this is fast-paced. So I think he's using this more as a business model, kind of a new wave golf thing.
Yeah.
And I think the ratings are doing really well. So I'm interested. I can tell you this. The kids at my house, when it's on, they're watching it, and they're telling me to shush.
Like, all of it is like this. We are in real time living the Wally lifestyles. Like, we're not even watching real sports anymore. We're gonna have floating lazy boys, right, and all that other shit. Literally, Wally is coming true in real time. I was irritated watching it. Can you tell I was irritated about that? Hey, we're gonna go ahead and get back. We're gonna take a quick break here. We've got our guest here on site at
Session Taco. This beautiful location here in Kirkwood.
Yeah, you know what? They allowed stickers too, man. I got a backpack full of them. We're going to tag the shit out of this place when we leave here. So, hey, we're going to take a quick break. Like, review, follow, share. Toss those reviews. Like I said, those are gold. When we come back, we're going to be going up the river, talk all things Quincy soccer. Catch you on the flip side. Soccer Dad Pod is happy to present a new partnership that all three of us personally use. Choose It Right is a fully integrated platform that helps coordinate and organize your players' bio, their grades, pictures, references, videos, stills, and more. With communication templates and tips and tricks videos, Choose It Right becomes an incredibly helpful tool in navigating the college recruiting process by presenting your player to prospective coaches in an organized and professional manner. Check out the link in our show notes and benefit from our special Soccer Dad Pod discount. Now, back to the pod. All right, Soccer Dad Pod, we're back. We got some refills, and I got a little clarification. It is not National Margarita Week. Tomorrow is National Margarita Day.
I got some issues with that. I mean, I know it's manufactured, but why would National Margarita Day be in February? It's a summertime drink.
You know, that's a really good question.
Like, who made it in February?
Well, when Adam pass by again, we'll ask. Yeah, that's weird.
What does the summer margarita say to the winter margarita?
Why wouldn't it be May 6th?
Fuck you.
It should be May 6th.
Yeah, May 6th.
Seis de Mayo. National Margarita Day. Soccer Dad Pod, we're back. We are Session Taco in Kirkwood. And we also got clarification. St. Charles location. They're in the streets of St. Charles.
Yep.
Then the new one in Town and Country in Kirkwood. Those are the three with arcades. So choose wisely, people. Choose wisely. We're rolling back in. You like this tune here that I'm playing?
Sounds like Beck.
I'm playing this in honor of my son. Yeah, he's over in Europe right now traveling. Check this shit out. Because you know he went to London for the spring semester. Have you ever heard of Ryanair?
No.
Our guest shaking his head. He's like, yep. He's also a lot younger than us. He probably knows why. Ryanair is basically the Greyhound of the skies in Europe. It's a discount airline out of Ireland.
And you just puddle jump with it?
Yeah. So this dude, his spring break started the other day. Check this shit out. So he's flying from London to Milan, a couple days in Milan. Then he's flying to Budapest, a couple days there. Then he's flying to, I believe, Nice in the south of France. And then he's flying back. And I believe the total ticket for all his flights, $130.
I was just going to ask, how much money are you making off this podcast?
Nowhere near enough for that. I told him take the train, take the overnight.
That's what we had to do. I remember being on that train with all the windows down. It was 100 and sweating with my shirt off.
Oh, my God. You know what? I'm going to tell one more story then before our guest comes on. True story. We're taking a train, Kim and I, pre-kids, traveling around Europe. We decided she was going to do grad school in Newcastle. Got there. She's like, screw this. Took all her grad school money. Called me and said, hey, let's go travel Europe for, however long. I'm like, are you paying? And she said yes. So I flew over as a fresh grad myself. We're in London a couple days. We go to Paris, and we're like, let's go to Nice because it's Carnival season, right? Let's go to the French Riviera. So we get on a train. We decide to save money. We're going to take an overnight train. And you know what happened? We get a sleeper car, and there's one other dude in there. And what's my biggest pet peeve in the world, Jared?
Having a threesome with somebody else?
Yeah, that's one that, like, depends. Left lane drivers and body odor.
Oh, and another dude in the train car with your wife?
This dude gets in, immediately takes his shoes off. And Kim has a very strong sense of smell. I literally thought that her lungs were going to pop out of her throat, like she was gagging.
And this is when you guys were in your 20s, right?
Yeah, we were in like literally 21
You
years
can
old.
take a lot more stuff when you're that age. I couldn't imagine that happening right now.
Look, me typically, right? Okay, fuck it. Just give me more beer. I'll pass out. There was not enough beer on that train to allow me to pass out and not notice that. So that's my European travel story of the day. We're going to bring our guest on here. We've wasted 4 minutes of your time. Joining us, coming down the Mississippi River from, actually, he's a Quincy born and bred, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Quincy home.
Yep. Homebody.
Yep. Mark Twain's up in that neighborhood.
Yeah, he's on the other side of the river.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Taylor Reis, Quincy University. How's it going, man?
Great, man. Great. Really, really excited to be here and glad to be a part of it.
Well, you thought so until you listened to that and you're like, oh my god. So let's do this. So we do this in all of our episodes. We kind of want to give the listener a little bit of a excuse me, a little background, a little bit of a pin in the map, as I like to call it. You're a baller. You played yourself. You grew up in Quincy. Talk about your relationship to the game and landing there at Quincy as a player.
Sure. Yeah. Well, my dad was my coach growing up. We've just been a soccer family. He was a Manchester United fan and walked straight into.
Did you follow in his footsteps?
Yep.
Oh my! Goodness.
We all did. All three of my brothers. I have two brothers, and all three of us are diehards. So
It's been a rough couple of years for you guys.
I was going to say, are all three of you guys in therapy these days?
we need it. It's tough right now, but I guess what do you do, right?
Right.
Can't change, and no, but so he was my coach growing up. I have a brother that's a year older than me, so I always played up a year at a club level with him. So my dad was our coach's son, typical coach's son. That was kind of our life, soccer. And
what was the club?
it was at the time it was called Quincy United. They're now like Quincy Rush, part of the Rush.
Imagine that.
Yeah, the conglomerate.
Yeah,
isn't it that's the largest club in the country, isn't it?
I think so by numbers, for sure.
Like 45,000 or something.
Well, and you said it, so and not to cut into our guest, Mr. Reis's intro, congratulations to Missouri Rush. They just got an ECNL platform.
Yeah, which actually probably, let's throw that to you. Now that you are the head, recently awarded the head coach title of the women's program there at Quincy. Missouri Rush, ECNL, now just, 2 hours down the river, you got a lot of teams to choose from. When you see teams like Mo Rush being added to ECNL, just as a coach looking at where you're going to be pulling players, how exciting is that for you?
No, it's awesome. We get a decent amount of players that come out of Quincy that are pretty good, that come down and play in St. Louis, and I think that ECNL RL is going to be a hot spot for us.
A little tighter.
Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
The ECNL RL and ECNL is going to be kind of a hot spot for us for sure, and Quincy has a great tradition of success with St. Louis kids and Quincy kids as well, but St. Louis is like there's a lot of history, a lot of tradition here with Quincy University, Quincy College back in the day, and we'll keep that going for sure. I love the idea of having St. Louis people in the program.
Yeah, are you? And it just dawned on me. Are you familiar with the Anderson family? Because we got some, there hasn't been a whole heck of a lot of players from Quincy come play here as a St. Louis University Billiken. And there's 2 brothers from Quincy that I would imagine with your age and your time frame and being a soccer family in the area, you probably know those guys pretty good, huh?
I coached Seth when he was a little backstory, I guess. But once I graduated college, I worked a year. In 2017, I graduated. I worked a year in finance. It was terrible. I hated it. And I knew I needed to get back into soccer. My dad is the head coach at Quincy Notre Dame High School.
Okay.
And he was coaching there at the time. Seth was there. And so I hopped in there as an assistant for 1 year. We ended up winning state, 1A state in Illinois, and then jumped into QU after that. So, I know the Andersons very well. Great kids, great family.
How long has your dad been coaching at Quincy Notre Dame?
30 years since I was born. And my dad was a grad, SLU grad, played at SLU as well.
So I'm pretty sure we would have. I would have. You wouldn't have. I'm pretty sure I would have played them. Played at Granite City.
Okay.
So actually, no. I just dated myself. Shit. I was graduated, but we played Quincy Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So is Dad kind of the North Star as far as soccer in the family?
He's Quincy. I would say he's one of the Quincy soccer. I mean, we have a lot of history in Quincy, and he's definitely one of those first names that come up.
30 years at the local high school in town. I mean, how tight was he with Jack McKenzie, the late great? I mean, just the stalwart. I mean, is the stadium name Jack McKenzie?
Yes, it is. Yep.
So. What does that name mean to your family, your father, you and your brothers?
Jack, their relationship, I don't know too much about, to be honest. I know that he always sent players to QU. There's all kinds of players that have played at Quincy Notre Dame and gone to QU. Jack's a legend and one of the greats, and especially nowadays, the kids don't know about him. They won 11 national championships in 15 or 20 in the 70s and 80s, which is insane. Nobody, even understands
all
that.
Kids from St. Louis and Quincy, nobody from Kansas City.
What's that, Vaninger?
Yeah, Jeff Vaninger.
Jeff was there. Di Maria's dad was there. I mean, there's a lot of big-time soccer names that have been in and around and involved, specifically Eric Delabar.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
He was there, and what he's done for our game here locally. Just phenomenal history within this program that we're about to talk about.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about just you as a kid growing up. Your dad obviously is knee deep in it as the Q&D coach, and you knew the universities right there in the backyard, so you had a team to root for. As you zoom out, how do you view if you were to describe Quincy soccer?
Sure.
Because it's a unique area, right? It's not easily accessible from a lot of areas. You guys are in this little niche world that has a tremendous legacy of great teams and players. Sure. St. Louis obviously is everybody kind of defines St. Louis as a particular style. Mm-hmm. The grinders that are technical, right? You're obviously well south of the Quad Cities, but you're in your own world. Do you view Quincy soccer as independent? Do you view it as an offshoot of St. Louis? If you had to describe it to somebody from the East Coast, how would you describe it?
Good question. I think without thinking too much in details, it's pretty similar to what the St. Louis kids are perfect for what we look for, both with obviously attitude and the style, but it's the geography, the 2-hour drive is perfect. To send your kid there, your kid wants to maybe get away. Some kids want to stay in St. Louis. Some kids want to get away. But having that 2-hour distance, you could go home on the weekend if you want. You can go home for holidays, but you're still far away enough from mom and dad to, have a little break.
So though, let me ask, kind of add a part B to it. As you build your teams and as you've coached with other coaches there at the university, what is the style? If you had to define the style.
Yeah, I think that question depends. my style is different from the men's head coach, without a doubt. He likes direct, he likes athleticism, and we've kind of always been that athletic with good players mixed in. But I'm obsessed with possession. I like the tactical side of the game. My style right now, what I'm trying to teach my team is possession based. It's kind of similar to like what Arsenal does. A little bit of inverting the wing back, but encouraging them to play. And like, again, I try to tell my team all the time is that I want to be entertained when I coach. And I think if I'm entertained, they're going to have fun. The fans will have fun, and we'll get people to the games.
I love that because I admire that style. In North America, in all of our sports, there are very few examples of any team sport that involves a ball that has any success, the team has any success if they don't value the ball. And so I love that you value the ball. Let's talk a little bit about Division II men's and women's soccer. For our listeners, and we should probably talk about it a little bit, you, my friend, were the assistant on the men's side for 6 years, and now just recently have you taken the full reins of the women's, because let's be honest, it's a full-time job.
Yeah.
The Division II game, the roster sizes are a little bit an anomaly for some. Some programs have the 25, 30, and have field one team. Some of them have multiple teams or, 2 teams, and they have 40 guys. Talk about that a little bit. And what is your stance on that? And are you going to try to work that into the fold of the women's program?
Sure, yeah. I mean, without a doubt, most Division IIs that I'm aware of, especially privates, are going with bigger roster sizes. And it's not just soccer. It's football. It's whatever you got, lacrosse.
Okay.
Everything is they want more roster sizes, or bigger roster sizes, for more students. Most of the time, a majority of our students on campus are athletes. We have, last year was like just under 1,200, and 800 of the student population was athletes.
1,200 is the student body population?
Yep, total.
And 800 is student athletes.
Yeah, so 93% of the people that live on campus are athletes.
Was it like that when you played on the men's team?
Similar, but we only had 26.
You only had 26.
26, 27.
So my first question, and we'll work this into present day, is you kind of explain some of the pros to it. What are the cons of trying to get a 17, 18-year-old kid to come to your university and play on a team that he may be the starter, he may not play, or that he's just on a roster where 11 people play that have 40 people on the roster?
Yeah, I guess I should start by saying we on the men's side last year, we had a second team. We used them as we used it. I think it was positive. I guess I should say before we get into the negative. We played teams like MOBAP, any surrounding team that has a developmental team or a JV team, whatever you want to call it.
You got 2 games out of the mix.
Yeah. Well, we played.
Or just 2 separate schedules in general.
They had 10 total games last year for the second team. So it was beneficial, and it's a good way for, if they feel like they're not getting seen by the coach, to show what they're capable of.
Makes sense.
And yeah, on the negative side, of course, like only 11 people start, maybe 20 people play, and that's if you're subbing a lot. But there's, that's another 25 people that don't play, 30 people that don't play, and it's not going to be easy to keep those players and to keep them happy. It's almost impossible. Yeah.
Yeah, so when you zoom out and you look at college soccer in general, and some of the new rules that are all coming down the pipe, specifically like roster limits, capping at 28, and then the math as it pertains to, they say they try to sell it as it's unlimited scholarships, but we all know it's not.
Yeah,
There's the budget.
Yeah, there's a budget. Speak to kind of a little bit of the Wild West along the lines of what you're talking about, where you have programs historically that have had, really, really large rosters. Yes, they've had second teams. It creates opportunity. But doesn't it also kind of create just uncertainty for the high school market, right? These kids coming up through the pipe that are paying big money at all their clubs, and they all think they're going to be the next best thing at the collegiate level. Speak to how you view the reality of the landscape as far as, the opportunities that are out there, just from a generic standpoint.
Yeah, I think the whole landscape of college soccer has changed dramatically in the last 5 years, 6 years, whatever you want to say, with the transfer portal, with, I think the biggest thing is the transfer portal, and we're going to see a little bit of the roster limit size is going to make another impact, but I'm not sure what the impact will be yet. I think we're going to see come May 1st, because that's the deadline for the Division I schools to make decisions on who they cut and who they don't. I think we're going to maybe see a handful of those athletes not have a home or struggle to find a place, and that's not fair to them. May is way too late for somebody like myself to try to hold scholarship and hope that I get a player that I have known nothing about. But yeah, with the high school kids, I think have kind of taken it the worst. Once the transfer portal COVID season happened, like Seth Anderson was a great example. I almost got him at Quincy, and he was under recruited. He didn't get recruited by SLU until I think like somewhere around December of his senior year.
Is that so?
So it was close. I mean, I talked to him again. I have a good relationship with him, and like, hey, if you don't have anything, like, let's talk about Quincy. And he's like, yeah, I will, like, sure. And then SLU came, and of course, like, I told him, I said, go to SLU, like,
yeah,
of course, you can't pass that up.
no kidding. And I think we'd be foolish not to bring this up and talk about it a little bit. As we're starting to explore Quincy soccer, and let's get more into the women's game, can you talk about your facility and what it means for, I just grew up in St. Louis, and I know of Quincy soccer and their facility. It's really one of the special facilities, men's, women's field that we have in our game here, and it's a true gem in the GLVC.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll give a lot of credit to the men's head coach, Mike Carpenter. He's done tremendous work out there. To be fair, over the last 6 years since I've been there, we've done a lot of stuff ourselves. We put a lot of work and effort into it to make it the nicest facility in the GLVC. But yeah, I mean, it's a huge recruiting tool. It's hard to, not send it to people and then say, wow, and teams come, coaches come, and they say, we wish we had this. So yeah, I mean, it's a huge tool. It's beautiful.
You know what's missing? Football lines.
Yeah, jeez.
How nice is that?
Nice.
Yeah, no.
Like we're sitting at I was like busting Mr. Keller, Coach Keller, Mike Gavane. We have the Final Four for Champions League, and we're playing out at Liberty on a football field. We don't have to talk about that at Quincy's field for men's and women's soccer. It is truly a gem.
Yeah, I mean, that is absolutely, it's a complete catch-22, right? Like, everybody wants their own field, but nobody wants to vote yes, to pay for it, right? And let's not kid ourselves. As much as we all love this game, at the vast majority of these institutions, football is king.
Yeah.
So I mean, we can be pissed off about it all we want, but until somebody opens up the checkbook, it is what it is.
Yeah, but we can also celebrate the institutions that have the facility like this gentleman's explaining. It's so cool.
Yeah, I totally agree. I want to get one last kind of question out of what we were touching on earlier, the rosters and kind of the prospects, because you kind of alluded to the issue/situation from both ends of the spectrum. Number one is I talked about, or I mentioned, the high school kids are like, oh my God, where do I go? Roster sizes are being cut. But then you talked about the effect of Division I making all their decisions late. And, you take a program like Indiana. Indiana would roster 40, 41, 42, whatever the number is. Next year, or this year coming up, NCAA is going to tell them 28, right? So you got 12 guys that were good enough to be invited to be part of the roster. The vast majority of them were never going to see the field, but they're good players, right? so that funnel down effect of all of these players nationally, starting at D1, filtering down, like, how do you envision, now that you have your team, leading your team, how do you envision managing? You've got numbers coming at you from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
How do you balance that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think it's new. That's the biggest thing is that, we're used to, or at least from my perspective, I'm used to going from high school or maybe some JUCO players or, recently transfer portals, but now we're adding another thing of, like I said, playing a waiting game and hoping that it works out. And that's not to say that, it's maybe a player at Lindenwood that's getting their roster spot cut. Are they good enough to play in the GLVC? It's a hard question. And you're running that risk. So yeah, does it? I don't know. I don't know how it affects everything. I think it's going to be like a first year thing. I think it's going to be maybe a little chaotic. And again, I think what the worst thing is that the kids are going to take the punishment from it.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, that at the end of the day, that's what we're really talking about. Well, these kids that are trying to figure it out. Like, if coaches like yourself are saying, we don't know how this is going to play out, there's no way parents navigating this are going to figure this out right now.
But I also think a byproduct of what we're talking about is a university like Quincy, who's a soccer university, has been that for years, that has its own soccer-specific facility, that wants to build a culture, that you can locate these kids that want to play your style and they want to come in and they want to be a part of something for 4 years and get their degree. I think there's a lot of – it's not a transient thing, and I think that's what you guys as coaches and who are good at it are going to hone in on, and the guys that are really good at it you're going to see really quickly.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. I think, yeah, it makes sense, and hopefully, we can start to funnel some of those players, some of those St. Louis kids that want to go to Lindenwood, want to go to SLU, but then maybe it doesn't work out for them. They can be great players.
That's a perfect place to break, because when we come back, I want to talk to you about, we've talked to a lot of recruiters and other coaches recently, and the new hot word is fit, right? What's a good fit for you for what you want, whether it's a 4-year strategy or a 2-year strategy, because...
Or a 2-year that don't, count against your eligibility and then go to a 4. It's madness.
Madness, I say. We're going to take a quick break. Soccer Dad Pod. When we come back, more college soccer. Catch you.
The term staycation was really invented by soccer moms. Located 1 hour and 7 minutes from the Arch, the Music Box Chalet at Innsbruck is a hidden gem. Buried in 3 acres of private woods, the Music Box has a master suite for just you, a loft and second bath for them, and a vinyl collection to meet your every mood. The full-size kitchen will easily accommodate 3 to 12 bottles of rosé, while the huge fire pit seating area will keep the big kids busy. Golf, fishing, kayaking, pickleball, or simply reading a book with Mother Nature, all at your fingertips. Visit either VRBO or Airbnb to find the Music Box Chalet. And now, back to those guys.
Psst, I see dead people.
We're back. Everybody's...
This sounds like I'm driving carpool with a bunch of 15-year-olds.
So, I actually haven't talked to you about this, right? When you hear this song now, what do you think?
Carpool with a bunch of 15-year-olds.
Carpool with a bunch of 15-year-olds.
2 years ago.
Coach Reis, what do you think of Kendrick, man?
I liked some of it. I wasn't a big fan of the Super Bowl, but I think like this song.
Whoa, wait. Are you a Chiefs fan though?
Oh, I don't watch football. I watch
football.
I don't watch American football.
I got you.
I love this guy. I feel like we're gonna have 100 beers.
Now the wife, when I have time, I'm watching soccer, and that's it. So
Yeah, it's so funny, man. Kendrick, the whole post Super Bowl thing. I mean, obviously things are crazy right now, but I mean,
you know, his jeans are big, like the jeans he wore. I got 4 pairs of those jeans. I should sell
Get
them.
them out. No, get them out. You got to start wearing those.
Yeah, dude, I do wear them. Dude, that's my style. I'm baller.
yes, he is.
He's it.
Ask him.
Yeah.
So we were talking before the break. We were getting into a little bit of the X's and O's, the recruiting, etc., or not the recruiting, kind of the rosters and where these kids are coming from. You know, one of our favorite things to kind of dive into for with coaches such as yourself is kind of I'm coming at this question from the viewpoint of the listener that's like, I got a kid, I want them to go play at the next level, or a kid is listening that wants to play at the next level. Talk about the things that you look for. You go out, because I'm assuming early on you're going to be doing a lot of recruiting yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you go out there, you're looking, you're going to showcases, you're going to games, you're looking at the film. Talk a little bit about what you look for in a player.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, for me, kind of a must-have for me is technical. I want to see somebody that's comfortable on the ball. I want to be seeing somebody that's can kind of, I call it like floating around with the ball, so they're not looking at the ball. They're just touches, and they're able to scan. They're able to check their shoulders. Mentally, I'd say technically technically and mental is the mental side of the speed of, you know, maybe in club and high school they can kind of get away with being fast and being physical, but you get into the next level, it's everybody's fast and physical. And then the best players are the technical, but also have the mental side of things.
So when you hear the pillars, right? Technical, tactical, physical, mental.
Yeah.
Break it down.
Yeah, I mean, the physical side of things is obviously, again, you go to college level, everybody's bigger, faster, stronger. That's how it is. And there's always going to be, from senior year of high school to freshman in college, there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. Tactical, again, it kind of depends how the kids are brought up. I mean, I was born into a soccer family. I just, that's what I was used to, so it was normal for me. But, what is their soccer education like? Again, club soccer can kind of be a wild card. Some coaches like certain things, and you might get lucky and have a really good coach that wants to teach you. But again, hard to say, but that is very important.
Let me drop one more, and then I'm going to get out of the way for Jarod here. The last part of my question is kind of that X factor. Everything that you're describing is kind of like the, to a degree, don't take any insults here.
No.
Those are predictable
Sure.
responses.
Yeah.
You're looking for technical. You're looking for fast. You're looking for mentally strong. What's your X factor, though? What is the it?
Depends on the position, I'd say. Attacking.
I'm not going to let you off the hook that easy.
No, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you.
Here's the thing. NFL draft, you get one pick.
Yeah.
Forget about the position. I don't care. What's the X factor in a player that you're looking for in lieu of being the 6 or the 9 or the 7?
Yeah. I want the guy that's psycho about winning. That's what I always say.
There you go.
You find
he wants a competitor.
Yeah.
He wants somebody that like, this is what's the problem with youth. The youth landscape is somebody with some give and F. Like, it matters to them. And I love the answer, because that's what it would be for me if I was in your shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the GLVC. I love the geographical nature of the conference, both on the men's and women's side. And, it's not you're playing a game in Detroit, then you're playing a game in L.A. It's all right here. You go from Upper Iowa to – I don't need to tell you – our listeners know the geography of it. My question for you on the GLVC side is taking the reins of this program. You got Maryville. Mm-hmm. Lori, Eric are stalwarts in that program, and they are doing a phenomenal job there. I think they were undefeated in the conference last year.
Yeah, they were very
You have Umsel. You have McKendree on both the men's and women's sides that are doing really well. Mm-hmm. Those are the local St. Louis schools. So, and you've already mentioned that St. Louis is an important backyard for you. How important is it to you to come into these programs, build relationships, deal with these clubs and get girls to come to your program so you can beat the brakes off of those schools that are local here within that conference.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you can have success in that conference if you can't be successful in St. Louis.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think those are the best teams, and 10 years ago that was not the case, especially on the men's side. But now especially they're all doing great. They do a great job recruiting, and they have a coaching staff that's very knowledgeable. They have and they're intense about winning. I mean, Lori's a great example. She's great for the job.
Yeah, I want to lean into that a little bit. Lori Klupney in particular. When you envision playing against her, right? Because there's great coaches everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Lori's special.
Yeah,
she's got a little bit of that je ne sais quoi, as they say.
I think she's got the it factor that we were just trying to talk about before my question.
Well, because a couple of episodes back, we had the opportunity to speak with Anson Dorrance, and when her name came up, dude lit up.
Yeah.
Just straight up, like she's probably one of my best competitors ever.
Yeah.
So as a coach, when you look at somebody like that and you know where her brain is at, like, does that inspire you? Does it challenge you? Is it exciting? Is it just like, I want to go toe to toe?
Yeah, I mean,
or how good is the beer that you have when you pull a recruit that she wants and that person comes to Quincy?
No, I mean, again, I always say shoot for the stars, and there's no reason why I'm not trying to bring in some transfers, a class for next year that we should go head to toe with the best teams. My life has been like that. I've gone wherever I've gone. I've been a competitor. I've played against top level players. I'm not backing down from any. That's just how I am, though. But no, I think there's a lot to learn from those people. But yeah, like I want to beat them, of course. If how good does that feel if you're beating them or you're taking their recruits? Of course, that's a good sign, right? But yeah, for sure. They're Maryville, McKendree. So those are the teams that we want to beat.
So let me ask a follow-up question then. You got your season coming up in the fall. You've been at Quincy your whole life for all intent and purposes. When you look at the schedule, has it been released yet for the fall?
There's a tentative, but not fully released. No.
Okay, so you got an idea of what's coming down the pipe. What's the date? What's the team you're circling? Like, it's the rival. Which game matters to you as a coach? Because there's always that team.
Mm-hmm.
And why is it all of them? And if you lose, you don't sleep.
It could be
no bailing out there, man.
Yeah,
there's always somebody.
I don't know. The Maryville McKendree is they're back to back for us, and I believe it's at home. Again, I need to make sure on that, but I believe it's at home, and I believe it's the last weekend, so it could be very important.
Oh yeah.
I've always had a real despise for Jury. And their women's team is great. They're very good. So I'd love to beat them. I always love to beat Jury. But yeah, I think them and just maybe just seeing how we do against the Maryville and McKendrees and see how competitive we really are.
I just love the conference from a women's and even from a men's side, but from a women's side and for looking at our climate and looking at St. Louis soccer, high school, youth, the club landscape, with all the phenomenal people that we have in it. And then you got Chicago right on there. You got Springfield. You got even in Quincy where you guys came from, the Andersons, all these guys. I memean, it's got to be exciting because there is so many good soccer players that you get to see. This conference is really, really exciting for me because it's all of our blue bloods in our backyard, and it's what college sports are about.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've thrived. Again, we talked about it, but we thrive in this getting these St. Louis area people, maybe a few Chicago, but to be fair, it's St. Louis. You look at the best players that have come through Quincy. Soccer on both men's and women's, it's either St. Louis or Quincy people, and then some people sprinkled in between. So yeah, without a doubt.
Let's zoom out on the recruiting front because the landscape continues to evolve big time. From the leagues, where the best players are, where they're playing, what showcases, the whole high school versus club debate, etc.
Mm-hmm.
As you look at your recruiting strategy, what does the geography look like? Where are you? You know, I think we were mentioning off mic. Player potentially coming in from California. Obviously, we've talked about St. Louis quite a bit for obvious reasons. But as you kind of, evaluate the landscape, where do you see yourself really focusing from a recruiting perspective?
Yeah, I mean, again, without a doubt, the St. Louis, Quincy area. I always want to get especially in Quincy, I want to get the best player from Quincy every year. And then, again, picking through the St. Louis, obviously some of those girls, guys, whatever way you want to look at it, are going to go to SLUs. They're going to go to Indiana. They're going to go to Lindenwood. But can we find the gyms in there like somebody like Dave Musso, who was one of the previous head coaches here, he's at Lindenwood now, did an incredible job, and he still does, of picking up the local talent. So, right. Yeah, sprinkling in some international in there, maybe some junior college. Again, like the St. Louis Junior College game is incredible here too. So, I think maybe sprinkling in some of those internationals for some of that culture and, having something different on the team.
Do you think there's too many options? Like, does it stress you out a little bit? Because, like, you walking through it, clearly, best high school player from your market. We want to pick up some really great players from the St. Louis market. Transfers matter. International players matter. I mean, it's almost as if, like, the menu, if this were a sushi restaurant, it'd be 7 pages long.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Like, how do you manage that? Because you got to pull together 28 people, a 28-person roster every year.
Yeah, mine will be more than 28. I mean, we're above 28 for sure, but yeah, even regardless of the number, I think test the waters, see what is your fit, see what works for you. I think that's what you got to do. You got to figure out what fits your style, what players fit your style. Maybe certain clubs play a certain way and they want to stick to that philosophy. They might slide into your program nicely. But yeah, there's without a doubt way too many options. And now with the 28-man roster is going to make it just another one. And yeah, it's ever changing, and it's always, you got to be on your toes. That's for sure.
Love it.
I actually envy you because I think that would be probably the best part of the job. Like, in just knowing the landscaping. I don't know a whole hell of a lot about the women's game, and I'll be the first to admit it. But like Katie at SLU, like getting Emily Gaby out of Union. Like, Union, Missouri is not a soccer hotbed, and she's arguably the best player in the Atlantic 10, and she's a hammer. Dave Musso getting the girl that he was there watching somebody, and then he found the sister, and her name was Tank, and she's now where she's at, and she's having a lot of success. I would really have a lot of fun trying to diagnose, build a relationship, finding that person that's going to come in and just knock our socks off. I mean, how much fun is that, and how important is it? Is like, those are generational kids at those programs.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you doing? I mean, you just gotta you gotta know somebody, right?
Yeah.
You gotta call Dan Donegan.
Yeah.
You gotta call the Jason Weilands at the Rushes. You gotta call Steve Petcher because they know who those girls are.
Yeah, it's it's about having the right fit. Like, we were talking a little bit about your son, and you've got to find players that want to play for you, want to be and have some pride in the program. You don't want to have somebody that just wants to be there for a year or two. You want somebody that wants to graduate from there, or if they're going to be there for a year or two, to push them on to the next level. But finding it it's a blast. I mean, I love watching recruiting videos. I love going and seeing players play.
So that brings me to a question. I want to talk a little bit about how you view, or what your potential strategy is when it comes to culture, loyalty, a vibe at your program. Because in the landscape that we're currently in, via the transfer portal, and everybody is, everybody's pissed off about their minutes. And they all want to leave and go elsewhere. How do you view, or how do you anticipate managing either keeping kids for 4 years, wanting to keep kids for 4 years, or managing the reality of a 2/3 year player, without blowing up your culture, or or is it even an option within what you view your culture to be?
Yeah, I think you'd be naive to think that nobody's going to ever leave,
Sure.
or that you're going to get a stud that's coming in as a freshman that doesn't plan to just maybe play here for 2 years or 3 years and try to go to Division I or a high level Division I, whatever it is. Like, I think if you got to accept that a little bit. You got to accept that some of the transfers that you bring in, some of the international kids, they don't want to be at a Quincy University or wherever it is for 2 years or for 4 years. And if they're good enough to make an impact and they do that for 2 years for you, great, right? And
So here's my question then. The follow-up, what's the culture? How do you create a culture if you are constantly aware and accepting of the transient lifestyle of so many players these days?
Yeah, that is also the challenge. And I think, importantly, the American kids are so important for that, to create the culture. And those are the ones that are going to stay, I think. And that's what we're kind of finding out through the whole process. Those are the ones that are going to want to come back for alumni events. They're going to want to come back to watch the team play. Or they're going to, when we're in St. Louis playing Maryville, they're going to show up in their Quincy gear. Like, that's where the culture is going to be. I think the majority of the culture players are the St. Louis, the Quincy kids. But yeah, creating that, being a family, turning, it's easy to say, family, family on three, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But
family on three until I don't get my 60 minutes a game.
Again,
and then I'm out.
There's so many new challenges to college soccer that make culture, like you're talking about, so hard. Because again, somebody gets mad at you. They get mad at you for telling them whatever you think, the truth, and they say, "Well, I want to get in the portal."
Yeah.
Okay.
You tell them, "Hey, look, I counted your touches. You sucked."
Yeah.
And in so many words, right?
Yeah.
Maybe with a little bit of kid gloves, but
I'll tell you what, in closing for me, Taylor, this has just been so enjoyable. What you guys are doing, the GLVC, I don't think people truly realize how hard it is to win a game in the GLVC in November when you have to defend 5 long throw-ins or, in the cold. Yeah. Because you truly have to figure out how to win games.
Absolutely.
And good luck to you, because Quincy has got a special place in my heart. That conference is phenomenal. And if you truly love soccer, you can't go wrong with that conference and your team, and good luck to you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, I totally agree. GLVC is tough. It's it takes no prisoners, that's for sure. And I think the experience is what's important for the players, and I think that they get a great experience in the GLVC for sure.
So you're born and bred Quincy. You bleed Quincy, right? Big Q.
Quincy Brown.
Do you have a Q tattoo?
I do not. I could
not yet.
Maybe work on a hawk or something. I've got some tattoos. We could get it put in there.
Yeah, but you're also a puppy. So if this thing goes well, are you looking to spread your wings beyond Quincy? And I don't want. That's an awful question, given you just got the job.
No.
Look, everybody, you love the game.
Yeah.
Quincy's, a tremendous university with a great program and a lot of pedigree. Mm-hmm. But you're a young guy. You clearly have your head on your shoulders. You kind of are accepting of the reality of the landscape. And if you navigate this well, what's success in Taylor's world moving forward?
Yeah, good question. I want to win first, right? That's my priority is winning.
Yeah.
And getting we've had a rough few years on the men and women's side. There's no doubt about that. Trying to get us back on track where we should be, where we're used to being. That's the goal for now. And then, of course, nobody wants to be an assistant coach forever. Nobody wants to, just be maybe at Quincy University. I love Quincy. I would do pretty much everything I could for Quincy.
Yeah, because your AD is going to listen to this.
Yeah, well, it's fine.
Make sure, hey, Mr. or Mrs. AD.
He'll know.
He loves.
No, he knows. I love Quincy. I would love to be able to put us, even if I was going to move on and get a better job, I would love to put us on a pedestal to get another good coach and keep everything moving forward.
What's your thoughts? Brown, white, maybe a little yellow. Good uniform color combos. I like the Quincy Brown. I think it's different.
Dude, you're talking to a red and black Granite City
Everybody's
Warrior,
red and black.
No.
Everybody's red.
No.
Nobody's brown, white, and yellow.
Embrace
Savannah
the
Bananas might be brown, white, and yellow.
God, I
They
love
sold out.
I hate baseball, and I love the Savannah Banana. Taylor, man, I appreciate you joining us, dude. I hope. Do you enjoy yourself?
Absolutely.
Are you
Loved
glad
it,
you
yeah.
came out a little session tackle? The Pacificos.
Perfect. I would do it every weekend if we could. I mean, you won't have to pull my finger to talk about soccer. So,
Well,
I'm glad to be here.
we appreciate you coming on, man. Really wish you the best of luck with your season. Stay in touch. Actually, quick shout out, Tony Delafeld. He's our connection.
Yes,
here.
sir. Yeah, Tony's my guy. He's incredible. If anybody needs an agent, he's definitely
amazing.
the guy.
Now,
He's
when
got
you
all
say
the connections.
I don't want to scare parents. When you say agent, what you mean is if you're a high school kid or you're a college kid and you want to play at another school, or you're high school, you want to play in college, that's what he does. Prospect to player. And he's a SLU High kid. He's one of ours here locally. He helps you out.
Great guy, yeah, and he's got some great players. He's got great connections. He does D1, D2, NAI, D3, JUCO, you name it.
Yeah,
He's
he
got
clearly
connections.
knows the game and has an eye for talent.
Oh, yeah.
I got a question on parting. I said in closing, you're a soccer guy, and I know you like the European game.
Yeah,
Mbappe's hat trick.
pretty impressive. He's incredible. Mbappe's crazy. Real Madrid's crazy.
Would he be able to save Man U though? Like, you see what I did there?
Well played.
Would Jesus Christ be able to save Man U?
Hey, this is coming from a Chelsea fan.
Yeah.
So my parting shot to you is relegation is a bitch.
You won't see me. You won't see me if that happens. Not see me.
Hey, man, look, this has been a lot of fun, dude. Best of luck with the upcoming season. Thanks for joining us. Like, review, follow, share. That's all the easy stuff, man. Soccer Dad Pod. We appreciate all your time. Jarod, well done. Enjoy your new heated vest, by the way.
Oh, boy.
And we'll catch all of you guys later. See ya.
He a fan, he a 69 God.